Okay, we're going to set the custom properties that will write to the file properties. So when I go into custom properties, if I haven't created any, then this will create my my templates. So it's saying tool options, file locations, custom properties. So let's just check real quick and make sure it's pointed to program data, Solidworks, and then to our location. So it's saying that one's going to language English. And over here, yep, so SolidWorks, then language English, and those properties. So somewhere I hit a tab there. I think it's at the same level. Okay, so let's. That looks like the correct location. So I go in, I say create now. It's going to launch the custom properties. Reason I want to verify that folder is I really don't want to duplicate this for the assembly, so I usually just copy it and rename it with the assembly. So if I expand this all out, oh, that's a little big. A little bit bigger than what I want, but it doesn't. There's my stretch and shrink. All right. So the message, if we want to add to the on the list, part file properties, and if we're going to the assembly, the drawing, or the weldment, we can activate those. All right, so the message at the top, part file properties, I could put company information, contact if there are a problem, you know, something along those lines. We're going to have these group boxes, and at least initially, I want to create a text box for the part number. Here's the list of all of those fields that we would want to write to and the defaults, so we're going to stay with those. Part number, if I set it as a type of text, and the default, and then this is a configuration property, so where I wrote that into the custom, this will write it in the configuration. Well, realistically, I need it to be the configuration, so I can leave that one blank. The name then will be a little more descriptive than part. No, we can put part number. And if I need a format, we'll go, we wanted XXX-000. All right, so that just says the form. The next one, we could do a, let's see, the text box. And this one's going to be the material. So we can select out. I just want to pick a few of these. I'll populate this more as we get more more in depth. So the text box, and the caption. Oh, I have a pull down, so I should be pulling it out of, there we go, even though it's the same. And the value then is the SolidWorks material. And since that can be configurable, we'll leave that one. And then what else would we want? If I wanted a number, I've done, let's go ahead and put in a revision. And if I need to reorder, caption, revision, and then we'll do the pull down, revision, and there isn't really a rev. So we'll go with the default, typically is going to be rev A. I've also done 0 for the default, that until we get to a production release and go to A, then the 0 pops up that there still needs to be some approvals or that. That for the whole file, maybe I'll make custom. All right, so it'll just be global for that that file. Let's do another group box, and this one will be Oh, I didn't give a name of those. So file, and we'll just leave it as group box. We can do a list of, oh, there's a list group and then the list. Oh, all right. So I don't remember that one. So we can just delete that out. I was looking to have it more as a included in. All right, so the list, and this will be the drawn by. And put in a name, allow custom values, and will be standard. And if I wanted to, then the revision could be, I could divide these up as configuration specific and custom, single specific. And the list, then when we do the pull down, we'll have the group. So we can put in number of names and also allow custom. And then the radio box, for the checkbox could be something like the vendor is checked is internal, external. For manufacturer, something along those lines, just trying to come up with an example. So should be visible, and then we would add a control that internal, then it goes to controls, be visible. All right, haven't done that one in a while. The custom is thinking, maybe it's the radio box is thinking of. So a radio button. All right, so we can just play with those. Oh, the value. And external, and we're just going to pick. So this one's going to, instead of like the list, this one will just be the group. All right, so usually there's a handful more that we'd want to pull in. I got to go back and revisit those since my example isn't that great. So this is going to put me in language English and the template, but I thought there was one more. So C drive, program data, Solidworks 23, language and English, sheet format. Okay, that was it. It was at that level. So, and I saved it before I could name it the part. All right, so if I do a new, yes, I want to continue, and I tell it that this is the assembly. What I want to check real quick is if I do a save of that one, it's the template assembly, but and it's an ASM PRP. All right, so a little bit easier to work with. Oh, did I go? No, I need to go program data. Language, English, and then to not put, oh, I'm in CAM. Pay attention. All right, so we don't want to do the CAM file. All right, so there's my part template. And even if I rename this, and then we copy it, assembly template, and then SMPRP. Yes, I want to change it. Oh, and no, we don't need to leave it named as copy. Alright, so having messed with that, should be able to close that, and actually F5 to refresh the page. So it goes back, it finds the part file properties, there is my part number, my material. If I select the material for this part, then that one gets saved. So now that I've set this, when I go into a part and come over here to the custom properties, then these will start to populate. So again, I'll need to play with the radio buttons and set those selections. And then the list is the drawn by, so apparently I didn't get that one. So let's take a look at the more properties. And that one brings us over to where we should be able to see the custom. And I have not, oh, that was what it was asking me, is if I made changes, do I want them to write it? So the residual was still there in the file properties. Alright, so we'll work with that a little bit more. And let's just close, don't save. We'll do a new part inch, double check. Oh, that was options. I needed file properties. Nothing in the custom. Alright, nothing in the configurations. So if it'll let me out of that. Alright, so if I give it for this part, this is going to be my exercise 1-001. Material in the pull down is going to be the most common, and we'll adjust those later. Call it 6061. And yes, I want to change revision A, drawn by me. And when I figure out what to do with those, when I apply it, and then come back to the file properties under the custom, we'll see the drawn by, radio button was set to internal, and we need to build in that logic a little bit more that says external, it goes to a list of vendors. Part number and material for this configuration. If we add additional configurations, then they'll be controlled individually at that level. When I save this and go into that process, then we should be okay. So no, I don't really need to save that. My next check is to do an assembly, so back over to the assembly file. Really doesn't usually matter as far as the units so much on the assembly, not as much as the part, because when we go into the sketch, we'll be off by a scale factor if we're sketching in inch and think we're in metric, or sketching in metric and think we're in inch. So I'm just going to go ahead and close that. We can do the same thing for our template here. I could turn on the origins, but usually the origins take over. Really not too much that I want to see there. Control 7. We'll go to the fast way into the units, and we'll just double check millimeters, length, mass, grams. That all looks pretty good. So this time, if I've gone through and made adjustments, we'll probably make a few more when we get to the assembly. But I can save this now as an assembly. So I find it an assembly template. It's going to take me back to templates. And then this is my assembly. And I'll stay consistent. Assembly metric. If I wanted one that was inch, I could change that file. And then now when I go into new, we have under the templates an assembly metric. Alright, and this is still the ASM DOT, So I want to close that. Anything that I put in there stays with the template. Okay, sure there's some other things that need to be tied to the part in the assembly, but that'll carry us over into starting the simple drawing template. So let's finish this one up here.